Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop, and a very sparse workshop it is too, because it's all packed up ready for shipping to its new location, but that's another story. So KTM, 18th of December today, KTM have announced that they've appointed Citigroup to help them with the restructuring of the ownership of the company. Now, what that means, of course, is that they're either going to be they're going to be finding investors that are going to lend them money to invest into the business, which basically means more debt, or these investors are going to want a piece of the action, which is going to effectively dilute the current shareholders. Now, bearing in mind, the current shareholders have seen a drop from 94 euros a share back in a few months back to today. I've seen it on Bloomberg at 10.59 euros. I'm astonishing fall in the share price. And so whatever happens, you're either going to see a dilution of the current shares in issue by issuing more shares, or you're going to see more debt, which at the moment the company simply cannot sustain. Now, of course, if KTM decide to go bust, which I still don't see that as not happening, I still think that is definitely on the cards. Then the creditors are not going to be happy with any solution to this. But on the other hand, if the creditors don't bite it, then the company will go bust and they won't get hardly anything. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video previously on this, and there's been a number of comments. Just to clarify, and I think this comment really is basically aimed at people who didn't watch the video but made a comment on it, which I always find astonishing. I have a vested interest in KTM being successful. I own a Husqvarna 701. I own a Gas EC300. So I think one of the things that annoys me with this situation is I'm pissed off that KTM have buggered things up so badly, because I have invested my own money in their products and I want them to be successful. I don't necessarily want to buy an orange bike, but I do like the colours of their other bikes. So, I'm annoyed that this is happening. I'm not gloating that this is happening. I would very much like KTM to be successful, but I can see why they are in the situation they're in. And even Stevie Wonder could see the situation they're in. There's the reason they've got so much debt is because they've aggressively purchased products or groups that they simply didn't need. And there's been a lot of talk about the fact that the post-COVID thing caused an economic downturn and that didn't help them. And that one I just don't buy. Any business, let's face it, the whole world was involved in the COVID restrictions that were government imposed. And there's loads of companies that have managed to ride the storm and they've got themselves out of it. I think what KTM seem to have lost sight of, and certainly Stefan Piero seems to have lost sight of, is the fact that they have a niche product. They have a luxury niche product. It is not a high volume product. And as I said in my previous video, you can't just buy Gas and Husqvarna and make 3 versions of the same bike and think you're going to sell more of them. The thing that, having restructured companies myself, having been the person that actually made things work in a business, if you're going to buy, if you've got a product line and you buy another company with a similar product line, there has to be product differentiation. For consumers, there has to be product differentiation. One of the things that someone commented on my previous video was that one of the reasons they bought Gas and Husqvarna was that it gave them a bigger dealer network. Well, I don't know about the US, but I certainly know about Europe and the UK. That almost certainly did not happen. There are plenty of KTM dealers that also sell Husqvarna, that also sell Gas. So when you walk into the showroom, you're faced with a KTM 690 and a Husqvarna 701 and a Gas 700. And the only difference really is the colour and the name on the tank. And that is not helping with a niche product your customer knowing what they want to buy. The way that KTM should have done it, and this is the way I think they should do it going forward. If KTM want to employ me as an advisor, I'll send my day rate and I'm sure they'd be happy to pay it. But if you've got Gas, who up until KTM took over only made two-stroke motors, okay, they only did a two-stroke product. Why don't you make Gas the sort of 0 to 300cc two-stroke range? Why don't you say, Gas, this is what you do well? Because let's face it, Gas could very happily benefit from KTM technology. I mean, if you think about my bike, my EC300 has got throttle body injection. It's a 2024 model. It's got throttle body injection and it works brilliantly. There's no jerkiness. You can literally ride it below tick over and it will just pull cleanly away because the throttle body injection is a technology that works. And whilst KTM didn't invent it, they developed it and they made it work, and it works really well. So there's not to say that Gas or Husqvarna couldn't benefit from KTM's technology and vice versa. But Gas is the two-stroke range 0 to 300 cc's. Husqvarna could then fill the middle, okay, so that you've got anything over 300 cc's up to say 700 cc's is Husqvarna, full stop, okay? And then from 700 up, from 710 upwards, that is KTM. That is the luxury brand bit of KTM. Now we could talk about the fact that they introduced software that switched itself off and then came to switch itself on again if you paid them an additional premium, which was a stupid idea. But if you had these three very distinct brands doing three very distinct things, that would have helped prevent what you've ended up with, because you would have spent less money. It would have cost you less. The customer wouldn't have been confused by what you were doing, and it would have allowed you to focus on specific areas of the business rather than this broad brush, let's just slap a different label on it and let's see if we sell more. Well, the fact is you didn't sell more. And that's why you've ended up with massive discounts. I mean, at the moment, KTM dealers are having a fire sale. It's ridiculous. So brand separation, and having three separate brands. Simplify the brand. The way that KTM have dealt with the cheese cam issue, or not dealt with it. That's what I meant to say. They've not dealt with the cheese cam issue. It reminded me of when back in the day, about years ago, I used to was into boating in a big way. I had some very nice motorboats in years gone by when I lived on an island. And because I was interested in boats, I was interested in engines and stuff. And there was the story of Evinrude Johnson. Okay, Evinrude Johnson was an American outboard motor manufacturer that was going through a bad time. They introduced this thing called Fitch technology, which was some kind of basically electronic fuel injection for outboard motors, and it was terrible. Okay, it was absolutely terrible, and Evinrude Johnson ended up going bust. I mean, and I'm drawing parallels to the cheese cam thing. Okay. And what Evinrude Johnson went bust, and the business was bought by Bombardier, which is the Canadian company that does a lot of they have a lot of products which are snowmobiles, stuff like that. And what Bombardier did is that they thought, well, okay, we've got something here that potentially could be good, and let's re-engineer it. Let's make it super reliable. And they did. They totally re-engineered the outboard motors in almost every respect. And they relaunched them with a 5-year warranty. totally unprecedented in outboard motor land. The idea that you'd have a 5-year warranty, it was just mad. But they never got any claims, or almost none, because they'd re-engineered it to be super reliable. They had a problem with a product, they dealt with it, and they dealt with it in the right way. And this is the thing that is so frustrating for me as a KTM product owner, when I see how appallingly badly KTM have dealt with the cheese cam issue. You know, as I said in my previous video, they have said, they are recorded as saying that there was only 300 that were at fault. That is nonsense. I do not believe that. Anyway, I hope that KTM gets restructured. I wouldn't buy shares in the company, although I might now. But whoever ends up investing in this company, whatever happens to this business, I hope that they employ or take advice from people who are motorcyclists, people who actually understand motorcycling as a luxury activity, as a niche product. You know, there is room for KTM and its various, you know, Gas and Husqvarna. There is room for that within the motorcycling world in a small way, in the same way that there's room for Omega or, pardon me, IWC in the luxury watch end. You can buy a Casio, it will still tell the time, it will still do the job, same as an IWC. But there's, you know, you're going to sell thousands and thousands of Casios. You're not going to sell thousands and thousands of IWC or Rolex. So understand what your market is, understand how big your market is, and make your business appropriate to it. You know, it's not rocket science. And this is what I find so frustrating, is that all of this could have been avoided. It is all avoidable. Anyone that says, oh, such a shame, it's not their fault. It is their fault. It is absolutely their fault. It is incredibly bad management. I mean, Stefan Piera has said, he said, KTM is my life's work and I will fight for it. Well, you've left it a bit late, you old, you know, you're an idiot. Because if you're saying that it's your life's work and you're going to fight for it, what have you been doing for the last 3 to 5 years? You certainly haven't been fighting for it then. All you've been seeing is world domination on the horizon and thinking you can beat BMW with their big capacity twins. Get a grip. It's possible to do it. So we shall see what happens. I may be wrong. Maybe KTM won't go bust. I think they will. But we shall see. Anyway, that's enough for now. I just thought I'd do a quick video from the workshop before it all gets shipped out. Please subscribe and like if you think this video is worth listening to, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.